What's going on, Fit Fam? We are heading into day 2, week 7. Today, we're going to be working on biceps, triceps, which is great because I'm going to do some preacher curls. See how that works out. And we got some good news. You've been with me on this journey a short amount of time, only 7 weeks. I have been unemployed since January, and today I got a job offer. Boom. So it took like 8 months interviewing off and on. And, each time I interviewed, I will say that I got better and better and better because I understood my mistakes. I realized what I needed to improve on. And, once you get to that point where you can understand how to interview correctly, what they're looking for, how to tell your stories, how to be more articulate. I mean, for me, it's different. It's so weird because when you're at work and you have a conversation, it just flows easy. But for whatever reason, when you're put on the spot in front of a panel of people or an interviewer, I understand it. Something goes off in your mind and you're like, all this pressure. So my point is, don't give up. Keep practicing. There are a few sites that I found are helpful. I mean, even now Chat GPT will give you interview questions and you can do a voice, like it'll do the voice thing and ask you the question and you can respond via voice. So there's a lot of different small videos out there that are very useful to help learn how to articulate your interview. And I stumbled, you guys. There's companies that I've applied for that, and in some of the vlogs you've heard me, I've stumbled on words, couldn't answer the question. I go blank. The stories that I come up with are just kind of like blah, without actually hitting the details. And there was a point, I think 3 years ago, I had a script. Like I had my stories in storytelling formats where I just read it and it would answer. And I'm like, that's my story. And sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. It just depends. I mean, you don't want to sound like you're reading, right? So there is a individual, his name is Matt Abrams, and he has a book called Think Fast, Talk Smart. I haven't read the book yet, but I will tell you that his videos are very insightful. If you look him up on YouTube, Think Fast, Talk Smart, and just look up interviews, and he'll give you these tips. And one of the biggest tips was you find out what is the theme of the job. You could throw the job description up into AI and say, hey, give me the top 3 themes of this position. And then you find your stories that match those themes. That's as simple as that. Then you know your stories. For me, it was learning and development. So I've always talked about learning and development. So it's always been applied to that area. But if there's specifics like stakeholder management, or if there's any kind of, I'm not going to get all businessy on you guys, but if there's things about learning and development and how do you measure impact, how do you measure data, how do you measure KPIs, all that stuff, then you get given examples of how you do those things if those are the themes. So that's all I got to say. Now, here's the question I have for you. Do you believe in coincidences? Do you believe it's a coincidence? Is there such thing as a coincidence? Do things happen for a reason? Or is it just a coincidence? Does someone win the lottery? Is that a coincidence? Or is it because it happened for a reason? What's the story? What's the intent behind it? So I asked you this because remember on our journey, I talked about being unemployed, talked about my 5-year-old praying, that we're praying for daddy to get a job. And then we talked about the court hearing I had with the UI claim, which was unemployment. My unemployment runs out on the 15th. And I will tell you, my job starts on the 15th. Is that a coincidence? Or is that just divine intervention? Things happening for reasons. That's what I got to ask you. So think about that. Ask yourself, when you look back in your life, things that have happened that were serendipitous, was it a coincidence or was it divine intervention? I think that's, like, for me, I've never believed in coincidences. I've always believed in divine intervention. And I'll give you an example. Years ago, I applied for a job at Nintendo here in Washington State. And I was in between jobs, and I think I was just getting to the point, I don't remember how old I was. I must have been right after college. And It was for a security position that I would maintain a physical, whatever the device they were working on at the time, I would maintain that device and I would travel to Japan to deliver it or to bring it back or whatever. I was a courier. I was a security courier. That was the job. Very simplistic. Loved to travel. I was single at the time. And the guy that interviewed me walked me out the door and he said, "You got this job. You're going to get it. We'll be in touch. I have faith in you." I mean, who walks you out the door after an interview? That's never happened to me before. I believed him. I never got the job. I never did. What happened? Nothing. No one ever told me anything. I reached out to HR several times saying, "I just want to follow up, figure out what's happening." No response, no input, nothing. Zilch. A year later, I bet a year and a half or a year later, the tsunami hit Japan. Coincidence? I don't know. Could I have been in Japan at that time, at this job, being impacted? I believe so. That happened. Second, when I was way younger, in our adolescence years, fireworks. Teenagers, we play with bottle rockets. We play with firecrackers. There was a old, broken down bus back in the field away from where I was living, and a buddy of mine, we went to play on that. Now, this is how stupid I am. We would throw fireworks in the bus. The door was open. We go inside the bus. We shot firecrackers, bottle rockets, you name it. Oh, guess what? There was a gas tank. Yeah. I lit a firecracker, threw it in the gas tank, thinking, "Oh, that'd be exciting." That was probably when I look back, that was probably the dumbest thing that I ever did. This is why I truly believe I'm here for a purpose. There's a reason why I'm here. I didn't die. The first time I lit it, threw it in there, a fume, I heard this whoosh. That was it. Done. Huh? What? Nothing happened? My buddy's on the bus. I'm outside. I light up another firecracker. Light it up, throw it down there because nothing happened. What was I expecting? Probably a bang. Was I expecting an explosion? No, that never entered my mind. Threw it in there. I hear this bloop, liquid, like it hit the liquid. Whatever was in there. Nothing. Coincidence or divine intervention? I believe that day I could have died. That is divine intervention. And there are different scenarios like that throughout my life that I've seen happen. And I'm telling you, if you don't believe in a higher power, you might want to change your mind because things happen for a reason. And I'm not here to preach to you. I'm just saying, look at your past. Look at the things that you've avoided. Look at the problems and issues or possibilities of death that you avoided. That's what we're doing here. You know? I think there's so many different avenues. But we're going into this. I told you all that I had Citrin deficiency. They said that it has to do with like carbs. I don't fully understand the complexities of Citrin deficiency. Apparently, but if I do something wrong, which I have no idea, and because my body doesn't digest carbs the way it should be, I could die. It would change something within my blood structure. Something that has to do with a gas. I don't know what gas it is. If I say it, I'll probably sound stupid. Wait, I could have died that. I didn't know that. I just recently got diagnosed with that. I think it was last year. And we were understanding, like, this is why I never liked pizza. This is why I don't like pasta. Because it always makes me feel good. So something was happening on the inside. I chose not to eat certain foods because I just didn't feel good. And apparently, if I kept on eating those foods, it probably would have killed me. Coincidence or divine intervention? It's up to you to believe that. So, today's affirmation, we're going to talk about change your life today. Don't gamble on the future. Act now without delay. Everything you do, you can make a change today. Look at your future and try to figure out, what am I doing today that's going to benefit my future later? Am I going to go out and party? I remember years ago, I stopped partying because what would happen, now obviously you guys know I don't drink, but I would stay out late. And I would stay out late with friends, and we'd go out into the clubs at 2 a.m. And what would happen is the next day I was wiped out. My day was gone. I was not productive that day. I'd stay home, I'd veg, watch a movie, sleep in, whole 9 yards, non-productive. I never felt good afterwards. Even though I didn't drink, I was just a lack of sleep. So I chose not to do that anymore. That was the thing. It was like my buddy would say, "Hey, let's go out tonight." I'm like, "Nope, I'm not gonna do it." Why? Because the next day I feel like crap. What's the point of that? It doesn't work. So think about those things that can affect your future. Now, I saw a video which was hilarious to me because basically it was titled P90X Scam. All right, I was scammed because I bought it. I was into it. I was into the P90. It says exercise scientist exposes the most profitable fitness scam, P90X. This is the Renaissance periodization. I can't even say the word. Periodization. You know the guy, Mike. I thought it was funny. He breaks it down. I didn't watch the whole thing because I'm like, I don't want to feel bad about buying the program. I had it. And I think it's in the long run, it was just making you work out. It was basically just movement, and it helped me. I mean, I learned some really good stretches on that program. So, grain of salt. It is what it is. Here we are today, and we just keep on learning. There's exercises that we lay extensions. You remember how we used to do those? And then later on, they said, "Oh, it's really bad for your knees." Yeah, it's that type of thing. So, family life. Obviously, the family's super excited. The baby's getting bigger. She's like a drool machine. I can't believe how much she drools. Wearing 12 months clothes. She's only 4 months, but she's already getting it at 12-month clothes. Crazy. So thank God I have a job because we got to buy new clothes. What else? Looking forward to our workout in AI. AI is AI. Nothing significantly changed. Nothing new. I did see a report on AI recently that new grads were having a harder time finding entry-level positions because they were being replaced by AI. I mean, take that with a grain of salt. You have one side of the media saying, "Oh, we're going to lose our jobs in AI." Then you have the other side of the media saying, "Oh, all the people who've adopted AI it's not progress. It's not working. It's not efficient. They're not saving money. They're wasting money." So, you're going to hear both sides. You just have to figure it out for yourself. Choose the balance, right? There's going to be some truth to some things, some truth to other things. Day 2, week 7. I'm hoping that it's already 82 degrees in here. I have an AC in here. It's already 82 degrees. Obviously, the AC is not working that hard. So I'm hoping that the workout, I'll be able to do a full body workout. I did do abs yesterday. It was just way too hot. It got up to 87, and that was horrible. So here we go. Move forward. Reach out. Tell me what you think. What are your thoughts? Do you believe in a coincidence, or do you believe in divine intervention?